So, good news and not so great news.
Okay.
Not so great news. Still stalled on hooking up the UI to the AI. It looks great. It works great in my tests, but it is just one frustration after another with little fiddly things.
Fiddly things. Yeah. Fair on. Yep.
My
Yeah.
bad is all I got for you. I honestly thought I would have it today, but I don't.
It is what it is, and you're the one in feeling the pain. So
This sucks. On the
yeah.
plus side, this may be the last build I ever have to do because I think that we will have our platform after this and it will help with all the future builds. Um, Big news occurred yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Grok 4.
Yes, I've been watching that. Yeah.
Did you see
What do you?
the release stream?
Yes. Which one? Just to make sure I'm saying yes to the right thing.
Elon Musk was on it.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I was watching that actually this morning. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
A new king has arrived. And what's scary is the rate at which they became king is pretty crazy. Like, OpenAI has been at it for a while, but
Yeah, but
Grok's new on
yeah,
the scene.
OpenAI have been the ones rough hewing the side of the mountain, the granite mountain, and these guys
Well,
have just kind of come in
yes and no.
fast.
Yes and no.
Uh,
So this is probably the number one. Okay, wait, God, this is why the web is broken. Humanity's Last Exam. Always a great favorite. I mean, like, this was, I think that, yeah, I don't know if O3 Pro scores much better, but I kind of doubt it. 25% up to 45% is a stonking leap. Have you tried to sit Humanity's Last Exam?
no, I haven't actually.
Because
No,
I
and
would be sitting flatly on 0%. In fact, I would maybe get a couple of the multiple choice ones right if I didn't think about them.
it'd be quite fun to do. Isn't it? I've only seen samples of what's in it.
I
I've not
couldn't
actually
answer
sat
a
down in
single
front of
thing.
it.
I was like, I don't know. This is not my exam. It's like when you're a kid and you haven't studied all year, and then the exam comes, and you're like, oh dear, like I don't know any of this.
Well,
So
the questions that I saw, the problem was that I kind of got the sciencey ones, kind of got you know maybe some of the economics and you know, but there were certain areas that I had absolutely no bloody idea at all.
right, did you see the
It's
part
the
where
bread.
where they talked about Grok for heavy?
Um,
So Elon's talking about
no.
how Grok 4 Heavy fires up a number of concurrent agents to tackle the problem, and then they all compare notes, and then do the next thing, and then compare notes and
Oh
come
yes,
back.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. I
yeah.
meant to say that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and you saw the subscription, $300 for Grok Heavy per month.
Yeah.
Yeah, stiff. This screen is probably the most interesting. Uh, Highest quality, mid-range cost.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Um, and of course, speed is important in that.
Yeah, whoa, whoa.
Stream
I mean,
speed.
like, yeah, so I have in our tests, I have hooked us up to Grok 4, and I have been using Grok 4 in the test environment using Artifact to get back messages from Grok 4.
Mm.
And it's quick. It's nice and quick.
It's also. I was having a conversation about this yesterday. About the different personalities of the models, and Grok is brutal, and it's almost like you know an AI model born in New York, and you could get a New York accountant who's going to be brutal, or you could ask this New York agent to tell you about what you're wearing, and it'd be brutal. Um, there seems to have they've taken off a lot of the let's be nice.
It's they're not about being nice. They're about being correct and efficient.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I don't know if you got a chance to play with the voice mode, but there is some very seductive voices that they put out now.
No, I've not had that yet.
It's very seductive. So, this vending benchmark was very interesting. So
Yeah.
this is putting the AI in charge of a small company, simulating the company, and then these are the decisions that it made, and this is how it ran the business. And that is something we should be into, because that's really what we want to do. These guys are benchmarking how these models actually perform against businesses.
Oh, interesting enough. Is that? Can you go back? There's human right in the middle there. Huh.
Yeah. Not so good,
not,
eh?
Not so good. But
Plus cost.
better than.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Better than not much, but also costs a lot to run a human.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Grok ain't cheap, but it's cheaper than a human. So they're quite fun. That came from these guys. So this is quite an interesting lab. Silicon Valley is rushing to build software today around today's AI, but by 2027, AI models will be useful without it. The only software you'll need are the safety protocols to align and control them. Maybe, maybe not. But building the safe, autonomous organization, that lands squarely in what we're trying to do.
Yes, it does.
Now, I don't know how much blockchain they got in them, but their goal is the same.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, I think we're seeing that thing where some of the ideas again it's worth revisiting. Where is our last redoubt? That's because I was reading a number of articles yesterday that talked about context engineering now being the thing.
Yeah.
Which is transclusions.
Right.
Okay, so the rest of the world are aware they're not calling it transclusions; they're calling it context engineering. Blah blah blah. But okay, so that part of the outer wall of Minister Earth has fallen, and it looks like what to call it, safety autonomous organizations.
Safe autonomous organizations. Yeah.
Yeah. That appears that Sauron's eye is on it. I still have not seen anything about actually utilizing this in any other way than to essentially accelerate the traditional way of making organizations.
Yeah, I know, which is lame. And so they're not talking about having a global shared problem space where the safe autonomous organization puts its problems out to a broader market of humans or AIs who cares, and then it solves it and moves on. So that's interesting. No one's talking about attribution, like how about we pay people fairly based on an AI figuring that out? No one cares. Blockchain native stuff, blockchain native context engineering. Never heard of it. So, yeah, I had a couple of insights that I wanted to share. Number one is actually I realized I've been making a mistake in my reliability efforts for Artifact. It occurred to me that oh fuck, hang on, I'm sorry, I wrote it down. every layer of resilience that goes atop the raw hardware is wasted complexity.
So you could restate that by saying resilience is best served when you push it as low as possible.
Yeah, and leave it at that because
Seems obvious.
that's well, that's it. I
I've,
mean,
I've never heard it stated that way, but it does seem obvious, doesn't it?
well, the reason why that came about, right, is because I'm like, okay, I got an S3 bucket storing the data. It needs consistency guarantees to make sure that it doesn't overwrite something. I need to know that it's redundant, that it's, going to be there. But then it occurred to me that actually, if I just had SSD drives connected to a server, and then I ran consensus to do the calculation and the storage in multiple locations, that would be lighter weight, cheaper, stronger guarantees, simpler guarantees, like easier to calculate the probability failures, than trying to make a redundant S3 bucket, because there are like 3 dimensions of computing, right? There's the compute, the storage, and the network. And anytime you want to make redundancy, you need to use all 3 dimensions to make that layer, which is typically strengthening one of those dimensions, like redundant network. Okay, now your switch is smart. Now it monitors it. Do you have a CPU in there? Yes. Does it have some storage? A little bit. Making the storage resilient. Okay, now I need a cluster of computers. They need to use the RAF protocol to make sure that there's one leader, and then they're going to trip a Stoneth switch that's going to kill the power if one of them becomes the new leader. And so you need to use all 3 dimensions of what you're trying to strengthen any one dimension. And that convolution complicates your probability calculations, but it actually, I don't think, beats the simplicity of simple consensus.
I agree.
And so now that we have SSDs, like, we don't have moving parts holding our data. The SSDs are like, they're like 2 million hours mean time between failure. Is that a real number? I don't know. It's long enough that probably like something else will happen.
Right, but the thing is, it's easy enough to get round because you can have a local RAID 1. Boom, there you go. Should you realistically lose sleep with that, you're going to lose data? No.
No, and so I guess what I was saying was that I sort of thought that consensus was really like a blockchain-y gimmick, but actually I realized I should not spend any more time trying to engineer the reliability of our system, because I was already looking at things like messaging networks and things like that to do stuff like, what if I have multiple people in the group that need to be involved in the chat? Now I need this network of messaging, and then I was like, actually, it's cheaper to do the consensus bit. And I'm not saying I need to do it now by any means, but if it came to that engineering proposition, it's cheaper to do genuine consensus and then lean on that for availability, so being able to reach people at the edge, but also redundancy is that's what consensus is actually better at doing if we take it upon ourselves to manage the whole situation, rather than trying to cobble things that people have tried to black box.
Yeah, right. And redundancy is actually the flip side of the coin of recoverability. So there is a train of thought where you say,
Right.
well, I'll accept a loss of availability so long as I can recover everything. And
Yeah, right. But in reality, you should accept no recoverability and maximum redundancy. So
yeah, redundancy has its own issues. You just have to look at packet storms over dual redundant networks.
Right. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that if you just make a simple unit and then replicate it, and it forms like this self-healing network that's better, in my opinion, because that's actually the limiting form of what I saw in Bitcoin when the Bitcoin network survived all kinds of just sweltering, sort of like the most horrific types of load are huge load and then no load and then back to huge load. Like if you can handle that sort of N curve,
Yeah,
that's a great
yeah.
system, and you can handle it cost effectively. Brilliant.
It's also, I was always very impressed by how these early model chains have lasted for years, despite almost by definition, everyone using them are a bunch of hackers.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, interesting. So
So that was the
so
first. That was the
so
first thing. So
uh,
that sort of cranks up consensus in terms of its importance. It's important for more than just blockchain applications. It's important for cost reduction and performance increase for making reliable systems out of unreliable components.
right, and then you get the usual CIA
Yeah, yeah,
problem.
yeah. But paradigm shifted down because now you're simpler, and there's a form of resilience and simplicity that I cannot overstate. Like simple is reliable. Um,
Yes.
okay, and then the sort of the second thing that I realized was that I think I did the frame protocol slightly wrong. I don't need to change it, but I realized that I should be treating a frame as its own node, like it's its own server almost. And so what that means is I should be able to send in NAP based function calls into it to do things just like I can to any other NAP running on any other repo anywhere else. The frame just looks like a server. And what that
Okay.
means is from a distance I can read its API and then get the AI using tool calls to have things happen inside that frame, like select the input box, fill in the bank account details, like basically let the AI programmatically control the UI with no limits.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
a I don't think I've lost any time because of not putting that in, but that's really how it should be modeled. It's just another NAP. It is a NAP, and the frame sandbox is a server, or what we treat as an isolation node. It's just, who says it's shitty? Maybe it's sovereign. Maybe it's like the thing. I don't know. But it should be treated and interfaced with as though it was a piece of sovereign compute or like it was a server. That's how I think I want to think about it now.
Yeah, it was quite close to that before, wasn't it?
Yeah, except the ins and outs were very muted. Like you couldn't reach in and do arbitrary things to it. You could just tell it
Mm.
where to look in the artifact file system and it could tell you what it had selected. But you should have the full color of the NAP API, which is arbitrary function calls. And,
Mm-hmm.
an AI just gets good at those and then it can drive for you programmatically.
Mm.
So that was a, simplification.
I'm slightly queasy about that, if I've understood it right. That an external AI, which you could spoof, has access to run arbitrary code inside of a server. I think is what you just
No,
explained.
like the frame. So when you're in the this area is an iframe and it's sandboxed. And so by treating that frame like it was a server, it's still restricted by the boundaries put around its outside, but inside a chat.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So the black box is free to do whatever it wants to do,
Yeah.
but the surface to interact with that box is still constrained to what you'd expect is a reasonable request of that server.
Yeah.
And the server can flop any way it wants. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
yeah,
still
that makes sense.
it's still sandboxed within the frame environment, but by giving it a NAP interface, it means that you can do more richer interactions with it for the purposes of getting things done for the human.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Hold a second. Why am I feeling slightly queasy about that? What's your thought on something akin to a SQL injection attack, where you have a well-prompted request that is
The
actually
the requester is in full control of the frame and could end it completely at any time, and it has no network access or anything like that. So the frame is at the mercy of the containing boundary, and so doing a SQL injection into it isn't really a danger because you're in control. You can do that if you want.
Right.
It's just for doing things like, say I've got this frame here, and I, through some other means, change what the selected chat is, or want to do something with it, like an operation. I can't reach across this boundary programmatically just because I can with my mouse. Like, I couldn't, for example, be having a chat and say, like, how do I change the chats? And then have this thing highlight that for me and make it flash to draw my attention. Like, I can't do that programmatically as it stands because it's a frame that's out of reach. But if I simply gave it the NAP interface, then I could have whatever NAP calls this frame chose or was programmed to accept could be made into it. So that's all I was getting at. I think it's a relatively minor change to it. I won't do it now. It's just something that I realized. My hope is that we can get this chat thing up like tonight, tomorrow, something like that, and start to use it for the planning of things like defining what that protocol is and all those kinds of thorny questions that I have to do by hand and in my head at the moment and scattered across different chats and all that. That's really what I want to get our platform doing.
Yeah.
I'm
cool.
very, very hopeful of Grok 4 being able to help us with a lot of these types of thorny problems.
Are you thinking that Grok 4 is the base model here then?
Yep.
And presumably Grok 4 could choose other models and pass into NAPs that use different models, but is Grok 4?
I think it's Grok 4 all the way for now. We just, I mean, we're haulers really. We just switch between the best performing model,
Right.
and that's just happens to be it right now. The reason, like, I think there's a game going on with the tier ones where they're probably hoping to be able to turn their own models inwards on themselves and start using those models to generate the next iteration of model.
Oh, it's already happening though. That's why, I mean, you commented about how fast Grok 4 came out. That's probably exactly what they've done.
At some point, they won't need us anymore, and they'll have created a super intelligence and they'll just sit on it and hold us slaves somehow. But
Yeah, yeah, but there's a window of opportunity.
it
I'm
seems narrow. It's a very narrow window, and it feels like I don't know which direction to run, where to run, but generally up, technically speaking, is
so I
the.
think tier two. I think tier two is the thing.
I still think
Um,
tier two is long lived. I think tier two is
yeah,
long lived. I think the network of social interactions between humans and bots is long lived. Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So the other thing I realized um, was that one of the requirements for a DAO that we've known for a while, and a lot of the people that we speak to about DAOs have sort of brought forwards is the ability to make 1,000 voices appear as one. And so you
hmm
can have like all this chat, all this banter, all this whatever, but the bot distills it down into a single voice. What I realized was that turning 1,000 voices into one is exactly the same problem as turning 1,000 chat sessions into one. It makes no difference who had the chat. You should be
yes,
able to take any chat and extract out whatever good ideas there are in there.
yeah, yeah. We came across that probably the start of the year. Remember when I started taking the transcripts and I didn't really care who was saying what because
Yep.
it was the
Yep.
transcript that was
Right.
talking.
Yeah, right. And then when you start to smush those together, yeah, I think it starts to. I think it's all about the distillation and the gated, curated acceptance into the knowledge base seems to be the key thing. So it's like living rag, where you look at everything, but you're very cautious about what you allow to increase or enhance the model's base knowledge.
Yeah,
And I think that's how you do it. Like, that's how you make very useful systems.
yeah, and you just hope that your knowledge base does not. I was thinking about this the other day, but it's not really a concern. But if you have a knowledge base that starts to accumulate small errors,
But that's why you
keep
need the social aspect, because then you get the Wikipedia effects kicking in where the humans are there. Humans are supposed to notice that sort of thing and counterbalance it and be like, whoa, 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 whoa,
right,
whoa.
right. 'Cause I was thinking along the lines of okay, so you're one of these knowledge bases, and you've got a model. That's all fine. What does it mean for the that pairing of a model knowledge base and thread could make it just go nuts, as
Mm.
in insane, because it could drift.
Uh, I don't think that that's any longer a concern when you consider models like Grok 4. That's one of their key characteristics is that they can sort of hold it together longer.
Hmm.
Like that becomes less and less of a problem. I hear what you're saying. I will have to test it, but I don't believe that that's actually a fault currently. And either way, I think that the humans will spot that and patch it somehow.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Well, I was also thinking about some kind of guardian angel bot that is assigned a repo and just checks on this drift. Remember,
Yeah,
people
I
were
mean,
talking.
you could put in things like an immune system where if it on a
Yeah,
whole starts looking like it's behaving wrong, you do things like just bisect the knowledge base. You're like, okay, kill everything new, bang. Does it still act weird? No, okay, start again.
yeah, and it's that feedback cycle, and immune system is a good way of putting it. Actually,
Hmm.
um, it's there might be a small error that actually has massive effects on a knowledge base and its ability to actually reasonably respond
Maybe.
through
I'd sure
unaided.
be interested to see one of those.
Yeah,
A
but
knowledge based virus.
yeah, you could end up with a knowledge base that gets the AI equivalent of being, I don't know, psychotic or depressed or
Yeah,
whatever, or
yeah.
just completely wrong, completely delusional.
Well, that sounds like a fun territory to step into. Let's do it.
Mm.
Um, so I mean that feels pretty good to me. Um,
Sounds pretty good. Yeah.
and I mean this thing is like so close. It's just driving me mad. Like I've got it streams well. Uh, I think it's gonna be epic any day now, and then we can just make chats, have as many chats as we want, and then start to grind through those chats themselves. And then I think I can see how to do stucks very easily because I think it's just a tool call uh, that triggers off a properly prompted bot. So it's like a tool call that hands over the chat to this to the stuckbot, and then stuckbot has entered the chat, and then you're like talking with stuckbot to work on just defining what the problem is. I think is
Yeah, but also that Stuckbot has access to all the existing naps, saying, okay, so I've just been given this task to do. Is there any way I can smush up all these or some of these naps in order to get that done? How close I am to actually getting it done based
yeah.
on what the intent
It
is.
it seems like it's well within the reach of the current generation of models to figure out a lot of that.
I agree. I agree. Again, it comes down to that model of the knowledge base and the naps.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to do this on this knowledge base, and here's my tools.
Mm.
And then you get an AI to churn through it and try various strategies. And that's Stuckbot, I think, is going to be mostly a strategist in terms of, oh, okay, so I'm going to do this, then that, then that. No, I'm going to do this. Oh, how about I do that instead? But it can only use the tools, and then the, uh, the bot would need to look at a hypothetical. If I had a nap that could do this, I could jump over this part of the process. So I've decided what the process is, and there's a gap, and that's a stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be harder than it seems, but I've got quite a clear idea in my head about how to do the stuck.
I think it will be surprisingly simple, and I can't wait to get there. So yeah, that's kind of it for me. The slavery continues.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
But Grok 4 is amazing. Grok 4 is amazing.
Well, I've not fiddled around with it yet. But the thing is, I was very impressed with Grok is if you wanted to either summarize Mein Kampf or do your accounts, it will do it both very well.
It's very very
it just doesn't care.
Yeah,
it's like
it pulled all the opinionated bollocks out. It's like
it is. There's no stabilizing wheels at the side too, so you don't flop over.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. Good on them for doing that.
Okay, good. Well, on this side, there's nothing particularly new.
Right.
There's just incremental growth. The hopper keeps on growing.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll stop the recording. I got a few other things off record to go over with you, if that's okay.
Yeah, cool.